All right, it is Monday. I'm very tired. We are in the basement, so lighting is not ideal right now. I started Red River Road by Anna Downs. I am 122 pages into it. I'm on chapter 25. So, looks like about a quarter of the way through it. I didn't count the pages. A little bit of a summary about Red River Road. We are with Katie, who has just set out on solo van travel around Western Australia. And Katie is not drawn to solo van travel. She is doing this because a year ago, her sister Phoebe, who was drawn to solo travel, set out on an excursion beginning in Western Australia. And not long after getting on the road and posting not only pictures of where she's been, but where she's going next on Instagram, probably not a smart idea to do, she's disappeared completely without a trace, including her van, just gone. And when this happened a year ago, the police did an investigation and found no trace of Phoebe. So when this happened a year ago, the police did an investigation and found absolutely nothing. So Katie has taken it upon herself to leave her job as a teacher to go trace her sister's steps by following her Instagram and everything that she posted, and see if she can find any clues. At the very beginning, the very first chapter, we are set up that Katie might not be our most sympathetic character, although we're very sorry for what has happened with Phoebe and her disappearance. Katie, on her very first stop, very first campground, has had too much to drink, has had an interaction, and has decided to get away from it, that it would be better to drive drunk and move on to the next stop. So, not what you would consider a sympathetic character, if you have, which you should, have no tolerance for drunk driving. She is driving, she's scared, she's obviously impaired, and she stops on the road because she's freaked out, and just like you're not supposed to do in every scary movie known to man, she gets out of the van, and when she gets out of the van, our other female main character, Beth, climbs into the van and hides in Katie's bed because Beth is running from something as well, and she basically has no shoes. Her clothes are torn. She's obviously been assaulted in some way. And she has no money, and she's just trying to get away on this lonely stretch of road in Western Australia in the middle of nowhere. And when Katie gets back in the van, and she's sitting in the driver's seat, and she looks in the rearview mirror, and she sees her bed behind her, she realizes there is someone in her bed almost immediately, and of course freaks out. And because she's in the middle of nowhere, because she can't go anywhere, she confronts whatever this is in her bed. It turns out to be Beth, and she realizes quickly, though, even in her impaired state, that Beth has had something happen to her and she's on the run, and she decides that she has to be a good Samaritan and help this woman. And so she continues to drive on to the next campground, allowing Beth to stay in the cab with her. And then when they get to the next location, Beth has fallen asleep or is feigning sleep. And so she lets Beth stay and sleep in the cabin of the truck, of the van. And she goes back and she basically passes out because she's inebriated. Now, Beth is not using the name Beth. She's using an assumed name, and she is pretending to be an American. So there's definitely hidden secrets and backstory there that are uncovered pretty quickly. However, of course, in the first chapter, we don't know that. As this is happening, the final character that we are introduced to is Wyatt, and Wyatt is a teenage boy who is suffering from some type of virus, but is, for most of his life, has had one illness on top of another. He's sickly, for lack of a better term. He lives with his father, but his father is away on a job, so he is home by himself. He is watching movies. It sounds like he's addicted to scary movies. And he imagines that he's hearing noises in the walls of his house. He thinks perhaps it's haunted. And he has always had this sense that there is something there. His older brother Lucas used to live with him and his father, but no longer does. And he's had asked Lucas if he heard things, and Lucas always said no. He's asked his dad if he hears things, and his dad has always said no. And Wyatt's mom is gone. We are led to believe that she has abandoned the family and left them at some point a few years ago. And the father feels that this has exacerbated issues with Wyatt's mental health, and Wyatt overhears him talking to the neighbor about what is wrong with Wyatt, and he resents it. So we don't know initially how Wyatt is going to play into this, but we learn within the first 100 pages that there are connections between Wyatt's family and what is going on with, at a minimum, with Beth. And then also with what has potentially happened to Phoebe. So we're not sure what yet, but we learn that Wyatt and Lucas's mom did not necessarily abandon the family, that she too was a solo female traveler before she settled down with Wyatt and Lucas's father. And she had decided to go off on a trip by herself. And while she was on this trip, she disappeared with no trace along with her van. So exactly the same way that Phoebe has. Now at this point, Wyatt doesn't know about Phoebe, seemingly, and Beth and Katie don't seem to know about Wyatt's mom. So we know about this, but no one else seems to have the information to make these connections. It was hard for me to get into the first few chapters, I think, because the introductory chapter was so just like, okay, so you're a woman by yourself on the road in the dark in the middle of nowhere, and you're making bad decisions, and I know you've been drinking, but still you're running through this list of safety tips in your head as you're doing these things, and knowing you're doing the exact opposite of the things on the safety list, but you're going to do them anyway. It just was very much a case of not wanting to get pulled into this world of this character who is making such poor choices. However, I did keep reading because I wanted to see, okay, how is this connected? How is this all going to come together? And I did want to find out about Beth? What is her deep dark secret? What is she hiding? What is she running from? What has happened to her? So that kept me reading, and now I'm good with it. I would definitely, there's no way that this will be a 5-star read for me. It could still potentially be 4-star. Let's see where it goes. And so now I am going to read for a while, and then I have to take Poppy to the vet. So that is my big exciting Monday. I am off from work this week. Ariana is here because she drove up with me. Update, if you watched last week, I drove down to get Ariana as she's coming up for Thanksgiving to visit me. And so I flew down, and then I rented a truck because I had books, my book collection in storage in Southern California. And I decided once and for all I wanted to bring it home. The truck got loaded on Saturday and we drove home on Sunday. There was water damage in the unit where I was storing my collection, and I know I haven't gone through the boxes yet to do that work. I'm still just really tired from doing the drive back, but I know that there's going to be a loss, and so I have to figure that out. But it was a little bit depressing to know that books that I've had in storage that I thought were safely in storage for several years were not safely in storage, and the fact that the storage facility never contacted me to say, hey, we think that there's been water damage in your unit, was very, very upsetting as well, because I could have potentially moved them sooner, or at least gone down and done something to prevent mold, which some of the boxes had mold, so that was great. So anyway, I'm going to read Red River Road until, well, not until, but for a while, and then the big adventure of the day is taking Poppy to the vet, and then going out to dinner with Ariana. And yeah, getting cleaned up before all of that has to happen, because I'm still just in vegetable mode right now. Wednesday, and I am going to be reading Chestnut Man by Soren Sevestra. I think I talked about this in the last vlog, maybe the one before. I started reading this last year for in-person book club, and I got really freaked out, so I put it down. Now it is broad daylight. Ariana is home, so there's someone else in the house because I'm a scaredy cat, and I don't know what bothered me so much about it. It was just really, it just really disturbed me. I don't know. It didn't disturb me. It scared me. It really scared me. So I'm going to do some reading in it again and try to get through it this week. Today is a shopping day. Ariana needs some basics, and so I'm going to take her out to, I think we're going to go to Old Navy for her to pick up some things, and then we'll go to lunch, and then probably come back and read for a while, and then go to dinner tonight. So that is the plan for the day. Should be able to get a lot of reading done and enjoying the holiday week. So let's read. It is Wednesday. I finished Red River Road last night. It was a very quick read, and it was leaning towards 4. Thinking back over it, I'm now more at 3.5 stars. It was very quick. It was very enjoyable. And I will say, I think I mentioned this before. Lately, I have felt like thrillers have been very predictable. And I don't know if that's because I read a lot of them. And so I've gotten used to the hints, the clues, thinking about what's the hook going to be, that kind of a thing. This one was a bit of a surprise. I feel like I thought what if, but ruled it out. So it definitely got me there. So Downs did a good job with that from a thriller perspective. But I think, as is the case with so many thrillers, there were a lot of coincidences, and you have to really go with, wow, all of these coincidences just perfectly align. And it happens. And yes, coincidences do happen in real life. Actually, more frequently probably than in books, but thrillers really rely on them. And it would just be nice if a thriller didn't rely so much on coincidence. Of course, could these characters have ended up together without the coincidence? I don't know. That's why the whole premise of the book is based upon these really big coincidences. But it does make you sit back and go, really? Really? In all of Australia, these three people were so interconnected and all ended up together. I just don't know. I just don't know if I can suspend disbelief enough. So this morning, I'm leaning more at 3.5. After initially finishing it, thinking it was a good ride, I was like, ooh, 4. No, I think it's going to have to be 3.5. So to recap, we have Katie and Beth. Katie is looking for her sister, who has disappeared on a solo van life tour of Western Australia. And we have Beth, who is running from her abusive boyfriend. And in a crazy night of scary circumstances for both women, we have Beth getting into Katie's van to hide, and then them sticking together to, 1, hunt for Phoebe, Katie's sister, and 2, to help Beth find a way out of the circumstances that she's in, with no money, no identification, no phone, no clothes, etc. And feeling like she can't go home because of things that have happened in her past that her parents have basically disowned her for. So having nowhere to go and having no resources and having no money, and so attaching herself to Katie, really displaying that she is a good person, and she desperately does want to help Katie figure out what has happened to Phoebe. In the end, Beth is the one, I think, who is at the cusp of everything, is the hero, which is interesting. It's now Saturday. I'm just about to start the last one at the wedding. My Jason Rekulak. I've never read anything by Rekulak before. I know that some people have issues with him. I'm going to see if I have issues with him. This is his latest release. I think that this was on the Goodreads awards list this year. Not sure. And this one is about a guy who is estranged from his daughter, but has been invited to her wedding, which is at a luxurious lakefront estate, and he attends and something happens. So we'll see. I'm about to start. Like I said, it's Saturday now. This will probably be the last thing that I film this week. I have some work to do today, unfortunately, and it's already 1 in the afternoon, so I don't have quite as much reading time as I would like to have today, with things that I have to do, including dogs who actually want to go outside. So I guess I need to do that first. And so I'm just going to read some of this and then log off. Thanks for watching. Tell your pets I said hello. And Poppy did too. And thanks for reading with me.